We are live, and in effect, I'm pulling up on YouTube Live, and we are ready to. Happy Monday to you. Welcome one, welcome all. Donnie Tuttle here with Monday Morning Mojo. I am fully dressed, so you don't have to be. So I am here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time today. I just wanted to talk to you about my nemesis, the thing that I hate more than anything else in the world. And hopefully we can do some damage to it. I believe in you and in me, there is a lion. There is someone of power, of grace, and of beauty, full of gifts and talents that resembles our maker. And the number one thing that gets in the way of us fully expressing who that is, the number one thing that causes us to be a lion in a cage, domesticated, is fear. Fear. Some people have called it false evidence appearing real, right? The acronym F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. And really, if you think about it, fear is us telling a story to ourselves about what could possibly happen. And oh no, what if it does? What if it does? Now, me personally, I've been touched by fear for a large portion of my life. Hate to admit this, or maybe not. I was afraid of the dark until I was 22 years old. 22 years old, this makes no sense. I was college educated. I was a pretty strong and beefy guy back then too. And it's like, what on earth was I afraid of? And I think it was from a youth of just filling my mind just with some weird garbage. And man, I was just afraid. I was afraid of the dark. Man, I can tell you this now. I love the dark. It's one of my. I love going. If it's pitch black, put me there, man. I just love not darkness in terms of the spiritual sense, but I love being in physical darkness. It's relaxing for me. So how do we overcome fear? Think about this. I have met people who they've been stopped in their careers because of fear. They have been stopped in their relationships. Fear can cripple us. Fear, it caters to that deep, dark part of us that says, fight or flight. I'm either going to run or I'm going to fight something. And what is it that we're afraid of? Are you afraid of looking bad in front of others? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of success? Are you afraid? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Well, I'm about to give you some steps in overcoming fear and living the life of a lion uncaged. And the very first thing that you need to do with fear is you need to label it. Let's call it what it is, baby. Okay? Label it. Sometimes when we look at it and label it, it becomes insignificant. It's actually something that you're thinking, oh, well, that's not really a big deal. There's not really a monster out here. I mean, in the dark or whatever. You label it. Next, you need to refute it. We refute fear. We refute lies with the truth. So we have to be able to have a truth to be able to apply it. How are you, Captain? Thanks for joining. So we have to first label our fear, then we refute it and we do this out loud. Don't fight the battle that's being waged between the 6 inches between the ears is not a battle that should be fought silently. So fight it out loud. Use your words out loud, even if you're by yourself and you're driving down down the road, looking in your rearview mirror, whatever. Do it out loud. And finally, community. Share it. Share it. Fear fears community. Fear fears community. So if you're afraid of something, find someone that you really respect and you admire, and they're not going to laugh at you. Most people aren't going to laugh at you anyway. And just share that fear. So label it, refute it, share it. We know this, that when we live in the place of ultimate power, that awesome things can happen. And my goal is for your life and for my life that we're living in the place of purpose. Now, confidence is sexy and fear is atrocious. Don't be that scared, sniveling person. You have a choice. I have a choice. I'm no longer afraid of the dark. You shouldn't be either. Now, the idea of, if it's If it's something that you should be afraid of, like I remember there was a dog, his name was Tut, King Tut, believe it or not, when I was in the traveling carnival, and we would walk by a travel trailer, and King Tut was this Doberman Pinscher, 100% lean muscle and teeth and growl to go along with that. And I can tell you what, fear of King Tut was well-founded, but fear on all of these other things of possible failures, of what other people think of you, of what might happen if you don't get what you want. Man, it's just debilitating. Final thing here, action. Action cures fear. If you're afraid of talking to someone, guess what you should do? Go talk to them. If you're afraid of the spelling bee, go do the spelling bee. If you're afraid of public speaking, like I used to be, go join a public speaking group. Do what you're afraid of, because I can tell you this, life happens on the edge. Life happens when you're in the place to where you are facing fear. If there's something that you're afraid of, go and stink and do it, baby. That's where you need to be at. Life happens there. Vibrance happens there. And you are a lion that is uncaged. So, face it with a roar. That's all I got for you this week. Power up. Let's face this week with awesomeness. Crush your fears. Live in action. Identify it. Label it. Speak truth to it. Bring it to community. So long.